I'm promoting the album, so I'm more in New York than I feel like I was just here like 2 weeks ago because I took my little brother for his birthday, first time in New York, on a helicopter ride, and he was in love. I get the Best Sister award this time.
It's cool to be back here and be like, you're like a rock star now.
I don't feel like that at all.
No?
Jesus Christ, no. I feel like me.
Just more grind, or what do you...
I mean, more sleepy. Maybe that's why.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like I live in a van.
I guess it's one of those things where it maybe feels a little bit different from the inside, because it's a little more gradual, right? You don't like wake up one day and you're like, oh, everything is...
It's so gradual that you don't even feel the change. Everyone's at home, super fam. Oh, you got, oh my God.
Yeah.
And to me, it just feels like the next level in your career. I mean, it's not like you ever stopped doing shows. The thing that has changed is bigger venues, it's more people screaming out, sometimes, you know, cooler opportunities. Yeah. But other than that, I've been touring for years.
You wouldn't want to stop doing shows.
No, I wouldn't want to. I would take a beautiful break for a month and come back hard. And in that break, I would eat more green food. You know what I'm saying? I would recharge.
Yeah.
Cause it would be great. You know, you're driving on the road, it's KFC, Burger King, McDonald's, man. It's hard for a player.
You feel like this career is bad for your health?
I think that I'm bad for my health. Because guess what? Half the Bangas are vegan now. You know, because the road has taught them that. It's taught them that they can't just eat anything and put it in their body, and that...
How come they learned that lesson and you didn't?
Because I think... I mean, first of all, I've always been a chubby girl. You know what I'm saying? So growing up, it was large plates of food plus churches and Popeyes.
Chubby, that's fine, but the health issue is a totally different one, right?
Meaning that everybody in my group has always, at least most of the ones that's vegan right now, they haven't had too many weight issues. You know what I'm saying? That affected their health. Some of them have. I just always been this way, so I never really saw... I just always been this way. I don't know no other way to be.
Sure. You could be chubby, but still like eat healthy. Because like at a certain point, it's like less about image or all these other things and more about just like general health.
Oh, it's about both to me, and not image according to anybody else. Image according to, I love the thrift stores and I want to go and buy that one of a kind outfit that I can't buy because I can't fit that thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, I dig what the rest of the world is on. Body image and positive. That's awesome. But I'm about being healthy and loving me personally, and that's at any size I am, but I want to be healthy, and I want to wear the clothes that I want to wear, man. Like, for real.
Energy is important too, right?
It's huge. Food affect your energy.
How many nights a year at this point are you touring?
Oh gosh.
Are you on the road most of the time, it feels like?
For sure. Home probably 3 days, 2, 4 a week. But when we're home, it's like Christmas, man. Everybody's happy that we're home. We get to spend moments with family are much more precious and special. You try to make it last, and you eat all the New Orleans food, and you do all the touristy ass stuff that you would have never did if you was home all the time. Yeah. It's much more special.
I've been traveling a lot for my job these days. For me, like when I get home at this point, I just kind of want to pass out and like lock myself up and
little Netflix.
Yeah. It's
Uber Eats.
I mean, obviously, like we have email and everything else, but it's hard to be social and to be like in touch with people when you're gone all the time.
You're trying to, even your family want to call you over. They want to chill with you, but you're a little sleepy. You know what I'm saying? But you want to make that time for them. I definitely take the time to rest and see my family, man. I'm going to be home for like 3 days, and I'm spending 2 of them in Florida because I want to be around all my nephews and my nieces.
So where are you at now with the album's been out for, about a month now?
About a month.
Yeah. So where are you at with that cycle right now?
I am at like literally still excited when someone posts that they're listening to the songs. Yeah. It still makes me very, very excited.
Are you like going through and searching Twitter and just like
I don't go, I'm not on Twitter.
You're not on Twitter?
No.
Okay. That's good. That's actually, you know what? That's good for your health.
But I'm obsessed with Instagram. Yeah. I mean, to see all those beautiful visuals all day, it's a mind. Can you curse on here?
Yeah,
that's a mind fuck.
I don't know that any social media is good for you, but like Twitter is just, especially now with like news and Trump's on there and all that, it's just like
that's horrible.
It's tough.
It's Instagram and Facebook for me, for sure. More Instagram than Facebook, probably because I just like to look at all these beautiful images and encouraging quotes and makeup tutorials.
This album cycle must feel different. I mean, it must feel different than last time you did this.
Of course. I mean, nobody was posting it online like this. It's just so cool to see all these. Like yesterday, I signed over 200 vinyl, Yeah. First of all, everybody back into vinyl again. That's amazing to be a part of that run. And I'm crazy though. I still feel like no one's listening and nobody care. That's how you feel. Like nobody listens. Like nobody's really listening. And then you always get surprised that somebody actually is. I'm surprised every day that somebody listening, and that's crazy.
You go to the show, the people there.
And when they know
singing.
the words, yeah.
Yeah.
It's
that
shocker.
must be.
That's just shocking. Yeah. Y'all know the words? Y'all, again, listening. I think that all the time.
When did this start being a full-time, really serious thing for you?
I think the day I quit IHOP years ago. I just walked in and I told my boss that I wasn't emotionally there anymore. And she said, "You quit?" I wasn't trying to quit. I was just trying to go home early.
Were you ever emotionally there at IHOP? I mean, that's
yes.
the sort of... Were you? It seems like the kind of job a lot of people are just sort of checked out from.
I loved it. Yeah, I loved being around the people. I love, especially when it's two people. You know, I got a table of two people. If it's not overwhelming, then I'm the best waitress you ever had. But if it's overwhelming, then I'm the suckiest waitress you ever had. And I always admired the girls that could handle those huge tables like that I couldn't act like it was nothing, you know? It takes a lot to be a waitress, a lot of humility as well.
But you liked it.
I did like it. And I just didn't want to be in work that day, but I didn't think that I was going to quit. But she asked me and I said, yeah, I quit. And she was like, okay. And I just never went back. I never went back to no job after that.
I mean, it wasn't an off day for you. That was a symptom of something larger.
No, I was already there. I was just there.
It was the music that was pulling your attention?
No, I just didn't. You know, you have days where you just don't want to go to work.
Yeah, of course.
Like, I won't be here today. Yeah. Is that okay? But obviously, you know, I mean, I think if I could rewind the time and I just would have told her, I just want to go home today. I'm not feeling that well. I would have had a completely different future. Because that means I would have went back the next day, the next day after that.
Where was that in terms of the music? Had the band already started?
Not at all.
Really?
No. I was just working, and then I messaged a young lady who used to message me all the time, send me encouraging quotes. I had an old phone. It had to download the messages. I hated it.
Yeah.
And so I was like, dang, this girl sent me another quote. Ah, here we go.
That's nice. So you had somebody sending you nice, encouraging quotes?
Every day.
Was she a friend or was she...
Nah, she wasn't a friend.
How does a random person get your phone number?
It was a mutual friend at school. She wanted a poem. She wanted a poem on her leg about her and her sister's relationship. She asked me to write it. She was very persistent about it, so I just wrote the poem for her. And we kept in contact with the text message. I never wrote back to her. And one day she sent out the message and I said, girl, I really needed that quote. I just quit my job. You want to go to the movies? Lifelong friends, fast forward. She's my manager. She manages the entire crew.
Really? Writing something for a leg tattoo, that's a pretty big...
The poem wasn't even fire. It wasn't even fire.
I mean, somebody asks me to put something that they're going to have on their body forever?
I know. You would have thought, right?
Do you remember what the poem was?
It was like...
Well, she still has it. She's your manager.
It. It's huge, too. And her and her sister have it. So that's crazy. Something like blood be the bond of sisters. But that's all I remember.
Okay. I mean, it sounds impressive.
She liked it.
Yeah.
Jesus.
You just kind of like fired off some bullshit.
And every day, we just hung out every day, listening to live music in New Orleans, walking the streets, hanging out, partying. She was in school full time. She worked for 911 and she worked for the government. And she would party with me all night. And I was her only friend at this time. And everybody kept asking me, when you gonna come out with a new album or album tank, period? And for some reason, I kept looking at her and I would say, when I'm going to come out with an album? She said, soon, we're going to do it. I don't know why I looked at her. She doesn't know anything, but we made the album together.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
You can kind of get a sense of people first few minutes you meet them.
Yeah, but for me to tell you why I kept looking to her for my album, I would never be able to tell you that because I don't know why I did that.
Why did she reach out to you for a poem? I mean, I assume you were already pretty heavily into poetry at that point.
Because I'm a poet, and she used to come to the open mic night and see me perform, and we never used to speak or anything, but her sister went there one night and said there was this girl there that really changed my life. She wanted to see who this girl was. Yeah. I was that girl.
When did you start writing poetry?
At least around 12. Yeah, and reciting it. My grandparents' 50th wedding anniversary, that changed my life. Because my grandmother took me to every church after that, and I would do this poem before my grandfather would preach. And I went to Brave New Voices with HBO. And then after that, after I became like 20, I went to compete with the adults. We won a national championship with my team, Team Snow, which is Slam New Orleans. And then I got out the poetry competitive game.
It was a good opportunity to play to two of your strengths, right? So you're interested in poetry, but obviously you're a performer. And it sounds like you got a little bit of that in the family if your grandfather was a preacher.
Lots of preachers, too, in the family, too. Kind of weird. They thought I was going to do that. I don't want to be in church every Sunday, though. Yeah.
Did poetry seem like a thing that you could really feasibly do? I mean, there aren't a lot of example right now.
There was like one in New Orleans, and she encouraged me to hold weight to me. Sonny Patterson, she was on Def Poetry Jam.
Okay.
Which kind of changed my life. I said, I just want to travel the world with my notebook. You know, And that's all I want to do, like Sonny Patterson.
Yeah.
And a lady told me, she said, no, you got to use your music and then let the poetry accompany it. People listen to your music first. I went, okay. And then I started doing more music with the poetry.
I mean, it's true, right? How many examples are there of people actually like just going to listen to poetry versus, you know?
There's a lot, but the world is so underground. We're finally becoming above ground now with, to me, people like myself, and I consider Tierra a poet in a sense, and No Name, and Anderson .Paak and Kendrick Lamar. These are poets to me.
You're talking about rappers in a lot of cases, musicians.
But a lot of them have dabbled in poetry.
Yeah, but I mean, it was clear that in order to really kind of get it out there, that music was going to have to be an element of it.
It has to be, to me, these days, for sure. People want to dance. They want to nod their head. They don't just want to listen for some reason. They will listen to the mumbo jumbo rap, but they won't listen to a poet who's making complete sense. It's weird.
I was reading up on you a little bit before, and it sounds like prior to the band, there was a musical element to the poetry regardless.
Yeah, the team. We used to put music and poetry together. So some people liked it, some people didn't. But in our ears, I mean, we was dope. So we really didn't care what nobody had to say. We was dope. And we, after you won a national championship, you really don't care about what nobody got to say.
I guess I can't say you quit the job. You weren't working there anymore all of a sudden.
I could have kept going, but because my team kept going. They won another one the next year.
Yeah.
But there's no sense in me to, I want to bow out a champion, and I already knew that I needed more time to really express myself, do my thing. And then I just started asking for a band, for an album. They just started coming to me.
What do you mean you started asking?
I want a band.
You put it out in the universe?
I put it out in the universe. I'm like a magnet. I'm serious. I ask for things, and I really work, and it comes to me like magic. Yes.
IHOP stops happening. How soon after that are you able to really start getting this thing together?
Let me see if the timeline is correct. The timeline is like IHOP, slam poetry, musical open mic, met the Bangas, became a group called Liberated Soul Collective. That group broke up. Tank is left with the Bangas.
It was like a collective, or like what? So you
it was
were there?
A collective of this guy had a dream that we could kind of be like the Roots. Just take everybody that's from Philly that's dope. Jill Scott, all of those amazing artists are from Philly. He wanted to do the same thing with New Orleans. Nobody was doing it, so some caught on to it, and some didn't. And those who did, we traveled together for years and did our thing and rocked the smallest clubs like it was the biggest clubs. And everybody just kind of got like really grown up, like kids and girlfriends and jobs. And I'm the only one that ain't got no kid and no marriage, no job. So I stayed with it the longest, and I was left with the band. And
yeah, I mean, I think for a lot of people, you get to a certain point where
it ain't pop off yet.
Yeah,
I gotta go get it real life, and I understand that
it's diminishing returns for a lot of people at a certain point. But you didn't give yourself a timeline.
No, I just kept doing it, and I never thought that we would make it. I didn't even know what making it looked like. I've always kind of I've been this talented, gifted girl, and if somebody that I trust has leadership abilities, then I go with it.
Well, it sounds like you're the de facto leader in some way, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm a leader, but it's never just one of me. It's always two of me. Like my best friend, she's the manager, and before it was the slam master, Akeem Martin. There's good people, it got good hearts, they're smart. Then I'm gonna go with those people, because I'm not the type of person that want to be the artist managing an artist. Like, I'm not gonna manage myself. I could barely do this. So
you got yourself dressed, you got here, so those are you
have no idea. That was a big part of my day. I woke up and went, oh, it's so early. Yeah. I gotta get up at 10 o'clock.
Oh my God, it's hard.
I said, I'm gonna set the alarm. Let's get up at 10:30.
I talked to a lot of bands. Everyone has this kind of like utopian ideal of, hey, let's operate like a democracy. And there are very few cases where that actually works. To a person, everyone seems to tell me that somebody needs to have the clear vision. Somebody needs to sort of like, it's great that everybody has an input and everybody has their thing that they're good at, but there needs to be one person who's really steering the ship, basically.
For sure. And to me, unless you're a super person, I wouldn't want it to be someone in the group, because they're too emotionally attached to the music, to the people, to, they're emotionally attached. It has to be somebody that cares about you, but is not a musician per se.
I guess there's like two different things at play here, right? There's a musical direction, and then there's like the business aspect. And you're kind of talking specifically about the business aspect.
And I'm literally in the middle.
I mean, it sounds like some of these people were kind of on board then from the beginning, or did
the band members are owners as well.
And management, you had this
one
friend.
Manager, the girl that's been there with me since the beginning. Yeah. It's all of us.
The NPR gig was kind of a major turning point for you, right?
The gig.
Wasn't a gig?
You know what it was? It was an opportunity. It was an opportunity, which gigs are, but it wasn't no ordinary gig.
Well, sure.
It was different. Even walking out there in that room full of all those people in a regular office, that's like me about to perform at somebody's desk, and everybody comes from all over the building to watch you do it. And there is no microphone, so you have to project. I was sick, and I was scared, and I was nervous. Not as nervous as Jimmy Fallon, but nervous.
Sure. You performed live plenty of times. How is
Right.
this different? I get Jimmy Fallon, right? I mean,
Ooh,
I get that,
was,
right?
ooh,
Because you're like, it's network
everyone's
television.
watching.
And,
Everyone's watching.
Yeah. And
this, you didn't
the
know.
Roots are watching.
They're right there.
Yeah. Questlove is watching you. I mean,
He's very sweet. He's very sweet too. You know what made me more nervous? Honestly, just being sick. You don't want to screw up, and you can't record this over. You know, it's just that.
Was there pressure that this was an opportunity that you hadn't necessarily had before?
No pressure, but knowing we're a band that started in open mics and poetry clubs, so that environment is not foreign to us. To have people just around you as they quietly listen to you, what means is that you can't fuck up. Did I fuck up a couple of times on that? Yes. Yeah, but I went with it.
And it's your name that's on it, and you're the person out front. And like you said, it's your business. If something.
What's funny is that everyone will literally copy your errors. That's the funny part.
You mean the band members?
No, I mean the crowd. Like, say the word is supposed to be where, and I started saying what, like what. Everybody gonna be like what, and I'm like, that ain't even the right word.
But
okay,
you know, that's like
so
the spirit.
cool.
You know, you're talking about like improv. You got jazz influence. Like that's kind of, you got to go with it.
You
right?
have to go with. I mean, what I'm gonna do? Stop it in front of everybody and be like, yo, I'm sorry, y'all. That was the wrong word. So you have to keep on going. Your mind is constantly working to make sure that you don't drop this ball.
Yeah. How important is that sense of improv? I mean, when it comes to sort of, writing, performing music, do you feel like that's a key part of the music still? I mean, obviously you have notebooks and you're writing out lyrics.
Right. I think these days, before we had so much time to practice, and now we're on the road so much. Yeah. Now, and we used to like literally, be in rehearsal. Oh, that's a song, and we write down, record it, whatever. But now, I think you have to more so, when you go in the studio, create there. Because there's not that much time in between to do so. I'll let you know next time I see it. You're writing, because I'm writing, I write all the time. I write my feelings, and it's a poem. It's a song. And then when I go in the studio, I'm singing it as they just writing along, just singing out my feelings. And then I have to write a hook as we're doing it. And that's the improv part right there. I just hope that someone is always recording, because magic is always happening.
The musical part is more the improvisational part for you?
It could go anywhere. But the writing can too. When we're in the creative process, mostly anything goes. And then you go in the studio and then you kind of iron it out and make it what you think it's supposed to be. But in the creative process, I will hope that nobody infringes on it. Like sometimes my MD will say, oh, wait, go to the 3. I'm like, wait, just let people create freely. That doesn't always work.
I mean, obviously, when you're dealing with a band, you have to be kind of more of a team player. It's not just writing your poetry, going on stage, performing it. You're working with a lot of, obviously, like very like gifted people. Mm-hmm. You got to be at least open. I take what they say into mind. It's not always easy, because I feel like I am the poet specialist here. Don't tell me anything. But I've learned over the years that everybody don't always understand what I'm saying, and that's when I stopped writing for just me. And I try to include people on this journey that I'm going on in my mind. But I definitely think of me first. But you have to think of people too if you want to be a part of this industry. Meaning that you don't want to be just understood by yourself. So my band members help me with that. So if I'm lost on a word, they'll help me. It sounds like it's kind of music first right now. I mean, that's the main thing that you're doing. I'm sure you're writing for yourself to some degree, or maybe just writing poetry. But now that that's your main gig, has that had a profound influence on you as a writer? It
did change, because I used to write more freely. Musically, you have to make sure that it fits into the bars, and you have to make sure that the melody is correct, and that I just used to say anything I wanted. You like a loop? You know what?
Yeah.
You like a loop? I just say anything. I used to have fun. And then
sounds like you still say anything you want. You just have to like fit it.
You got to make more sense of it now, just a little bit more, which is so lame to me sometimes. You know what I'm saying?
What do you mean make sense of it?
You got to make sense of some of these words.
Yeah.
You got to make sense that, that can't go into the third because the fourth is coming up. Like they have musical terms that, I still haven't gotten even after all of these years. You just have to make more sense, because at first I was coming from a place that was just much more innocent, as to where I just, like, to me, I didn't need a bass. I didn't know that it was important. I just wanted a guitar or maybe keys, which you still can have, but I didn't realize that a bass can carry a song. And now that I know more, you think a little bit more of the other players besides yourself.
It has to be a little more difficult than juggling those things. You have, or at least had, a very specific way in which you
created.
wrote.
Yeah.
and now you're dealing with all these other aspects.
Individuals too. Yeah.
Yeah. So are you writing melodies? Is that part of it? Are you bringing that to the table, or are you just bringing the words?
I write the whole thing.
The whole thing.
Pretty much melody, everything.
Yeah.
And if I'm lost on a word, I'll ask one of the Bangas and they'll give me a word to rhyme with ice cream.
But you don't have any sort of professional musical background. So what do you humming bars to them?
Yeah.
Or?
Yeah, shit like that.
Yeah.
And they'll make sense of it.
Yeah.
I remember the first time I brought a song to them, it was really fast and I thought it was so cold and it was funny. Met a funny boy by the name of Tim. To me, take me on a trip. Got a duck and you want to get him on the left. It was really fast. They loved it. And then I did it in front of a crowd and the crowd looked at me like I was crazy. And I said, yeah, that was the end of the song. And they went, oh, okay. They clapped. So I had to change the whole song around. They weren't getting it.
Everyone in the band got it.
They got it. They liked it.
What was not to get about it?
I think it went by so fast.
Yeah.
They didn't. The crowd. I only literally performed it a couple. I could count on my hands the number of times until I had to change it. But I changed it, and it's much better now.
Do you think there's a kind of a marked benefit though, not having a professional music background? Do you think you're bringing something different to the table, like not having been schooled in all this?
I do. I think it's good. I think it's good that I know what they don't know, and they know what I don't know. The only thing that I wish that would happen now, which is all up to me, is that I develop what they know. Because at this point in the game, to me, I should know more of what they know instead of just sticking to what I know.
Are you interested in studying?
Yeah.
Is that something you're
I want to get on the keys and magically play a song.
Well, yeah, it's not.
Everybody wants to just do this. I sit behind keys all the time and I'm like, man.
I'm just saying, like, if it hasn't happened that way yet, that's not going to happen.
It may not be in my bones.
That doesn't mean that you can't learn.
Just a melody. Come on. I got a ukulele.
Yeah. Obviously, that doesn't mean that you can't learn. And you're surrounded by people who really know their shit.
All of them and multiple instruments. And I know if I ask any of them that they would be willing to teach me. That's the type of guys they are. Not
that you have like a ton of free time now, but is it something that you're pursuing?
No. You should saw my Instagram video yesterday.
Yeah.
I did a song while I was playing piano, and then the camera came around and saw that it was actually one of the guys on the floor playing the piano. My fans went crazy.
Yeah.
They couldn't believe. They was like, Tank, you really fooled me.
Did you just magically learn how to play the piano?
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, all right, y'all. Yeah. And then I was doing this and the keys to this, and my hands was up, but only 2 people noticed that.
Working the way that you're working now is something that's succeeded for you, so maybe you don't necessarily want to mess with the magic. You hear like...
I gotta mess with the magic.
You gotta mess with the magic?
I gotta mess with it. Because nothing can take away from me. Learning an instrument or becoming more of a student of the thing that I claim to love will never take away from me. It will only add on to what I already have.
You feel like you need to push the band, though, musically? I mean, it's important that the next album, whatever it sounds like, doesn't sound like this one?
It really probably won't. Yeah, it really won't, especially since the concept will be so different from what Green Balloon is.
What's the concept of Green Balloon?
Light, fuzzy, magical, whimsical, curious, teenage-like.
So by concept, money, you mean kind of the vibe?
The vibe. And yeah, because the green, we were, at least I was, obsessed with the green of everything, the green of getting high, the green of money, changing people, and green being naive and not knowing anything, and just the Green Balloon to me, it sounded whimsical. It sounded like a balloon in the forest, and I loved it. I really did, and I got really into it. I wasn't making music thinking, this is gonna be whimsical. I just made it, and it just so happened to tie in to what I needed. I really love that album.
Not everything that you're describing related to the green is necessarily whimsical by its nature. I mean, the idea of like money changing people.
Yeah, but the green has a lot of different aspects. Green as in, forest, green as in weed and getting high and imagining things.
Yeah.
I don't know if you heard the term green as a blade of grass, which means you're being naive, or fresh, or green as in growth, and balloon as in being full of yourself, or floating away, or feeling honestly tethered down.
The entire concept, the entire album starts with an image?
It started with songs, and then the image came later on. I just write, and then I make sense of it later. Yeah, I don't be like, I'm writing with this concept. No, I just write everything, and then I make sense. Heart, boxes and squares, everything. And then I just make sense of it later on. Walmart, everything.
You're constantly writing. You got your notebook with you.
My phone.
Your phone. Voice memos, probably.
Yeah, I'm one of those people now I used to hate.
Anything that like helps the creative process, there's nothing wrong with that.
That's how I feel. It's always there,
Yeah. Do you use the tools you have, I guess, as the saying goes?
Yes.
You amass like a certain number of poems, songs, bring them to the group. I assume you write more than ultimately ends up on the record. You weed them down. And then you just sort of start to see a theme emerges between them?
I don't know, I guess. I noticed that was something that I like in a lot of albums that I don't see these days is them sticking to the title. And I made sure that the word green was in a lot of referencing throughout the album, and the word balloon.
You start with the colors at the beginning of the record.
Yeah.
It's a big part of it too. Are you at a point now, I mean, it might be too early, that the album just came out, but are you at a point now where you're thinking about what the next one looks like, what the next one sounds like?
Yeah.
Are those themes starting to emerge for you?
Nah. Before, because just the intensity and stuff like that I was thinking of, and of how I wanted the next one to be, and passionate like that. But no, I haven't drawn anything yet. Not from what I'm making now, and I know that I still have to go into the studio and create even new magic.
You never know where
you don't know what you're gonna get when you get out the studio.
And, well, you don't know, like, that day, that morning, that week you wake up, where your brain's going to be and how it's going to come out.
It's kind of cool.
It's a little nerve-wracking, though, like a live performance, right? You don't know if you're going to be, like, sick that day, you know?
You hope. I honestly wake up and I say hello. And that's how I check the quality of my voice every morning. I say hello. And if it's not good, I go, fuck.
Tell me about that intensity, though. This idea that the next one's going to be sort of like a little more intense and I guess a little less whimsical. What does that mean exactly?
I have to save that information.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, how much?
It'll give so much away. That's why.
You got some stuff here you're planning.
Yeah. If you don't, they'll plan for you. You don't want that.
How much of that is impacted by, the kind of, I guess, the ways in which your life has kind of changed over the last couple of years?
I think it was definitely easier to create when you had more time to create. The little chances that you have in between time, you're spending them in the studio, so that part is different. But I'm interested to see what it's going to be like, because once you're in there, though, there's really no other place you know that you're supposed to be. You know you're supposed to be here creating right now. You know it. It's just in your bones.
So I talk to a lot of people about the difference between, freelancing or having a creative job versus working in a place like this, or like working in an IHOP, working a service job where you have to be somewhere every day. You have to be in that same place every day. There are definitely downsides to that, but maybe this is a mixed bag. But one of the things about it is when you leave the IHOP or when you leave here, like, you can shut that part of your brain off, right? Mm-hmm. You can sort of compartmentalize. You can go off and live your life. You can't do that.
You're an artist.
You have a notebook. You have to have your phone with you. I
can do it, but it's not too long. When I do it, it's Netflix time. It's ordering food and sitting down and watching it. But you can't do that too long without feeling guilty about it, because you're not creating.
Maybe you're not this way, but a lot of people are. But when inspiration strikes, it strikes, right? Hopefully you got your phone or your notebook.
Oh, yeah, you're happy about it. You take it. Because, she sneaks up on you.
Obviously, that's better than the alternative of it not hitting you, of you having to force it. But
I don't force it. If it's not there, she's not here. But I always have faith in knowing of who I am, that I'm is going to be there.
Do you feel like that, as we were talking about at the beginning of the interview, that kind of vacation, do you feel like that's something you could and can and will do? Like, do you think you can just sort of step aside for a little bit?
Yes,
and okay.
For sure.
Without a problem. Yeah.
I like to chill.
Yeah. And a lot of people say this, especially when you're really sort of first starting to catch heat, you want to embrace that momentum, right? I mean, the minute you sort of step away from it, it's hard to get back into it.
Yeah. I know that. That's why they have workaholics out there, and Beyonce and Diddy them and Swift didn't get their way just chilling on it, and I understand that. But I never really wanted that kind of fame. I really don't want the fame. I would like the fortune. You know what I'm saying? But as far as walking down the street and being myself, being comfortable, I'm really happy with that lifestyle. If I could touch millions of people, my music and poetry everywhere, and still live a very comfortable life and make money, I'm very happy, and I don't have to ever be on MTV.
So you feel like you're pretty happy with the level that you're at right now?
I could reach I could reach at least 5 more levels before I'm completely happy.
5 levels from where you are right now is not being able to necessarily walk down the street.
I can. Guess what? Guess who I think can walk down the street? I think that certain members of Maroon 5 can walk down the street.
Yeah, one of them can't.
Adam can't do this.
Yeah, there's the guy who's on The Voice or whatever.
Guitar or some shit. Yeah, you can do this. You can do this. And but he still got money. He comfortable and he living well.
But if anyone is not gonna be able from you guys, if anyone's not gonna be able to walk down the street,
it'll probably be me.
It's gonna be you. I mean, your name is there. You're out front.
I just told you what I wanted, though.
I know. Do you feel like there's you go on Fallon or whatever, do you feel like there's kind of a marked difference? You're not able to gauge the impact on your life?
No, I don't really feel the big difference. It actually feels, just about the same. Tiny Desk really probably changed our life more than anything. Yeah. It really did. We go everywhere and somebody say, I saw you on the little desk. And that's in Africa. That's in Israel.
Your Uber driver in Africa.
That's in Australia. Yeah. That's in New Zealand. That's the beautiful part about that. But I still could walk down the street and I'm in love with it.
Do you feel a change in kind of pressure to, now that there's more eyes on you, now that there's kind of more people depending on you?
Just to make sure that the album lives up to the live hype. Just about that on the slick. Even some critics will say that our album wasn't like our live show, but we never wanted it to be.
It's impossible.
Who wants that?
It's a different experience.
It's two different experiences, and we wanted them to be separate. We wanted that. Nobody knows us like us, and fans that's been knowing us for years, obviously. I'm happy with what we created. I'm really happy with it. Very proud of it.
There you go. Really wonderful conversation with Tank from Tank and the Bangas. Their new record, Green Balloon, is out now on UMG Records. Thanks so much to her for taking the time to do that. Thanks to you guys, as always, for listening to the program. If you like the show, there are a number of ways to support us. You can rate and review us on iTunes. We're on Google Podcasts and Spotify, YouTube now. Like us on Facebook. If you have any feedback, it's rylcast@gmail.com. Follow us on Tumblr. That's rylcast.tumblr.com. That is the first and best place to get all of your RIYL related information. And that's about all we got for now, so stick around because we're going to be back in a few days with another episode of RIYL.